So you get a bad news, you get a rejection, now you're sad, you're frustrated. Good. That's energy right there. You can spend that energy towards your goal. It will change your mind. At the same time, you're not going to be wasting your time complaining and being sad. And we all know that the biggest learning curves come from the biggest trauma. I give you an example. When I moved to the US, I was 19. That same year, my best friend that I knew since I was 3 years old died. It broke me. It was my first relationship with death. But even if I was so sad, I just arrived in the US, and instead of focusing on my sadness, I focused on my business, on my degree, on my family, and that's how I reached the American dream. I took all this negativity and that sadness, and instead of crying about it all day long, I moved it towards my goal. So I'm not asking you to brush away your problems or to ignore them. I'm asking you to use that energy towards something positive. Negativity makes your life interesting. You wouldn't watch a movie of Indiana Jones if he's just a professor at the university all the time and then he goes home, see his wife, and then he goes back teach, and that's it. It's boring. You're gonna watch an adventure where he's almost dying every scene. So don't let your life being boring by avoiding conflicts. And don't just go through life. Live every single day. You have this good news and this bad news. Enjoy them equally. That means you're living your life. In my past, sometimes I had hard moments and I reached for help. I went to therapy or I even tried hypnotherapy. During my therapy, the hypnotist brought me back to my childhood. And what made me cry is when I met myself when I was 6 years old. In that moment where I felt rejected the most, I told myself, me the adult, to my own self as a child, that I was going to be okay, that I was going to move to the US and I was going to be a successful violinist and teacher and a successful comedian, and I'll have an amazing family. And it made me feel better because at that time when I was 6, I felt that I was going to be a nobody. I didn't have the tools that I'm talking about today. And another technique I use is I always imagine something worse than what's actually happening. So let's say you just had a car accident. You're not hurt, but that's going to hurt your wallet or your insurance. That's very frustrating. It happened to me a few times. Sometimes it was my fault, sometimes it wasn't. But then I imagine, what happened if the other person was dead? What happened if I was dead in the accident? Imagining something worse